Mick is with us in Salt Lake City. Hey, Mick, how are you?
Hey, Dave, I'm doing great. How are you?
Better than I deserve, man. What's up?
Awesome, my man. Hey, so my brother and I own a structural steel company. We have 5 employees. Our line of work can be very dangerous because we use cranes and heavy machinery to lift large steel beams and put together tall buildings. We try to be as safe as possible, but my question is, how can we protect ourselves as owners and protect the business in the event that one of our employees causes an accident that severely damages property or injures people?
Yeah, that's pretty scary stuff. Well, in the world that we live in today, the litigious society where people sue for no reason or they make up a reason just to try to get money out of somebody, you've got to do risk management. You've got to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So your question is a very good question. And, we're in a pure white-collar setting here, and yet people find excuses to try to milk. I built a big building, and it was like an advertisement, sue me and try to get some of my money, so It's like weird. Never got sued forever, and then all of a sudden I got sued. So I get where you're coming from. Now, what we have done is 2 things, and it's the only thing I know how to do, and you can get some more nuanced recommendations within both of these categories. But basically, it's ownership structure and insurance.
Okay.
And so you've got business operating insurance, you've got liability insurance, obviously you've got workers' comp, and those kinds of things, which in your world is freaking expensive. We're flying a desk around here, not a crane.
Yeah.
And ours is expensive. You start flying a crane with steel beams on the end of it, workers' comp goes, oh, you're the one I was looking for. Yeah, they got you, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, because it's based on category of work, and rightly so, because the accidents at a desk are less often than in a crane. So, anyway, so workers' comp, basic liability insurance, but if you can put in place, talk to your insurance company. You need an independent insurance broker that will shop among different types of insurance, make different business insurance suggestions.
Okay.
And then what you've got to do is you have to say, all insurance is not worth it. Some of it's just too expensive, and I'll take the risk. Other pieces of insurance for, $5,000 or $10,000, I can get something that covers $2 million of that. Yeah, I'm doing that one, right? And so that's thing one is you're going to sadly learn more about the different types of insurance than you ever wanted to know in order to intelligently purchase it.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, that's thing one. Thing two then is don't ever own anything again. Everything is in some kind of different entity.
Yeah.
Right. My personal residence is not in my name. My cars are in an LLC that my wife owns. My wife owns the LLC that we live in, as an example. The last house we had was in a trust that my wife had. And so the weird thing is that Dave Ramsey actually owns almost nothing.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous. So I tried to lower the size of the target on my butt. And so, the business and the cranes certainly need to be in an independent, standalone LLC.
Okay.
And then you have to the rule with LLCs and incorporating both are you can't just open the LLC and that's it and say, Mix Cranes LLC. You can't do that. You have to then run the entire business in the name of that. So never is an invoice in your name. It's always in the name of the LLC. Never is a contract in your name. It's always in the name of the LLC. Never do you rent a building in your name. It's always in the name of the LLC. You have to do everything in the name of the LLC or the LLC loses its what we call corporate veil.
Okay.
It loses its protection.
How does the new LLC buy the equipment from us?
It doesn't have to. You can just transfer it.
Just transfer it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just move it. Like when I decided I didn't want my cars, because if I bump somebody, they're like, "Oh God, Dave Ramsey hit me $10 million," right? If I have a car wreck, other people are like, "Hey man, what's your insurance company?" I'm like, the other guy, if they find Dave Ramsey, oh, they fall out in the road and foam at the mouth, you know. So, so in the name of that, right? I just I put the cars in an LLC, but I didn't buy the LLC that I put them in. Didn't have any money. I just opened an LLC, transfer the titles in there. That's simple. But then I have to do all of the licensing in the name of the LLC. When the cop pulls me over, I have to hand him registration that says the name of the LLC, and he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Well, that's funny, isn't it? Because it's a funny name." And so, but because I was smart like the day I formed it. But anyway, so you can, my farm is in a separate LLC. My business, every piece of property that we have that's in excess of $5 million is in a separate LLC. So if a building that I own that's a $5 million building, someone falls and breaks their face, they can't sue Ramsey Solutions because it has nothing to do with it. That LLC owns that building. You follow me? But all the business transactions have to be done in the name of that. There has to be a tax ID. There has to be in order to create the corporate veil, your attorney can advise you, but you cannot. A lot of people form LLCs and then go do business as a person. And if you go do business as a person, you're back liable again. Mm-hmm. You follow me?
Yep.
I'm not an attorney, but this is what I've learned from the attorneys and from everything. So I haven't personally signed a check as Dave Ramsey, but or a letter or a contract as Dave Ramsey in Ramsey Solutions arena in over 25 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm always CEO of Ramsey Solutions. I'm just an officer here. I'm just an employee here. And from a legal perspective, that's actually what I am. And the LLC happens to be controlled by me, but that's a different issue. But if you want to sue Ramsey Solutions, you can't sue such and such LLC that holds one of our pieces of real estate because it's not in the deal. You follow me? And we've even separated off some of the assets inside the company into different LLCs.
Okay.
To where
and that just helps you to be less personally liable.
You're not personally liable at all. If an LLC owns your crane and it falls over and hurts somebody, you are not liable. The LLC is. They can take everything it owns, which is the rest of the equipment. They can shut your business down, but they can't take your house. They can't come take your personal checking. They can, they can try, but that's called piercing the corporate veil if they come past the LLC wall and try to get your personal stuff. And the best way they can do that is to prove that you weren't actually doing business the way I said a while ago, all in the name of the LLC. So you don't ever sign anything except as your title on behalf of the LLC. You never sign it personally, ever.
Okay.
But again, I'm not an attorney. I'm just teaching you from a business perspective. You do need to get an attorney to tell you everything I just told you.
Sure.
And they'll show you the nuances of that. So what's your top line on this company? What do you make a year?
Last year we did $1.6 million.
Way to go, man. How long you been open?
So we've been open about 6 years, but we used to just build gates and stuff. So we doubled last year. We're hoping to double again in the next year or two. And so we're taking off, but we just want to, we're just a couple welders trying to be businessmen here. And we're just wanting to make sure that we do it correctly. So,
well, don't take this advice and let it become your only reason for existence. That's not what I'm doing. But what I did was I just put enough different entities, enough different individual things that none of them that it would not end my life on the planet if one of them caved in because of a lawsuit.
Sure.
And then I put insurance on it. And if I put the right kind of insurance on it, if there's a lawsuit, the first round of lawyers, the insurance company pays for because they're trying to keep from writing $1 million check.
Yeah.
And then if it goes by higher than $1 million or $2 million or whatever your coverage is, right, then is when you're trying to protect your business and your cranes and your personal home and don't lose everything due to one guy coming on the job hungover and runs a crane through something, right?
Exactly. Yep, that's what we want to protect ourselves from.
That's the whole thing is just, the land of doofus that we all live in, that sometimes people decide they're going to do that. So, wow. Hey, you're a good guy, man. I love what you're doing. But the point is, risk management is by separating entities, operating exclusively, carefully within that entity. Don't do any business except in the name of that entity for that entity. Don't cross-purpose anything, and then put good insurances in place. And that's all I know to do to limit risk. And, of course, operational systems to keep people safe, as safe as possible while we actually get the work done. That's the other thing you do to do that. But in situations like that, you're going to have a thing where, okay, we could operate the crane, in Mick's case, a certain way, and we put a process in place that costs us a few $1,000s more of maintenance or whatever on the crane, and that process helps to buffer the liability as well. That's what I'm talking about. And so it's sometimes it's called doing the right thing, and usually you can do the right thing and accomplish a liability buffer at exactly the same time. That's all that works together. So, yeah, just look for stuff like that you can do to limit your liability, because you're being as smart as you can possibly be and as good to your team and as good to your customers from a safety perspective as you can reasonably be. And once you do that, then you still got to deal with idiots who try to milk stuff out of you with lawsuits. But you put the entities in place to lower the size of the target.